Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating topic, Varnashrama Dharma and its degeneration. This is actually a summary of the profound, original Hindi book, Varnashram Dharma or Duragati, by Pundit Sriram Sharma Acharya. We're going to be looking at what is essentially the lost blueprint of a divine society. It's an exploration of an ancient structural framework that was originally designed for absolute harmony and constant human elevation, but which, as you'll see, has severely degenerated over the centuries.
Now, before we really get into it, I need to make one thing absolutely clear. This content is based on the original Hindi literature by Pundit Sriram Sharma Acharya ji. We're relying strictly on the profound insights laid out right there in this highly revered text. It's absolutely crucial that we look at the authentic roots of these concepts rather than getting tangled up in modern, heavily distorted misinterpretations. We need to go straight to the source.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the ancient golden era, then look at the decline of ashrama dharma, followed by the fall of Varna. After that, we'll dig into the guna and karma principle, confront the modern social crisis, and finally wrap up with the path to revival. Sound good? Let's jump in.
Section 1. The Ancient Golden Era. This was a time when India was truly the world teacher, a nation built entirely on spiritual duty, totally free from material greed.
Back then, society was completely stabilized by pure Varnashrama Dharma. And listen, this wasn't just some abstract philosophical theory. No, it was a brilliantly pragmatic social science. The original literature describes how this structure literally transformed the nation. Through perfect social balance and totally selfless service, India became a living university for the entire world. The ancient texts actually tell us that its 33 crore citizens were akin to 33 crore deities, giving unparalleled knowledge and science to humanity. Think about that. That is 310 million people operating at their absolute highest moral capacity. It was a society driven 100% by duty, not by endless empty desires.
Which brings us to Section 2, the decline of ashrama dharma. Let's look at the collapse of life's 4 sacred stages and see what happens when the very structure of our lives loses its spiritual foundation.
To understand what went wrong, you really have to understand how human life was originally purposefully mapped out. It was honestly a masterpiece of balance. Life was split into 4 intentional stages. You had brahmacharya for rigorous learning, grihastha for family and ethical earning, vanaprastha for stepping back to offer selfless service, and finally sannyasa for total renunciation and spiritual guidance. The sheer genius here? Splitting a person's lifespan equally. The first half was all about personal growth, and the second half was dedicated entirely to giving back and elevating society. But today? Wow, that beautiful balance is just shattered. The stages of selfless service, vanaprastha and sannyasa, are practically dead. Instead of vibrant youth focused on intense learning, we're seeing widespread physical and mental exhaustion way too early in life. And society? Well, it's trapped in this corrupted grihastha or householder phase. The focus has completely shifted to just the greedy, endless accumulation of wealth, totally abandoning any sense of a selfless, higher duty.
And this collapse has created a massive, crippling burden on society. The text points out a truly staggering number. Instead of highly educated wise elders stepping away to guide society for free, we now have an estimated 60 lakh beggars. Yeah, 6 million individuals masquerading as holy men. They just put on saffron robes without doing any actual tangible work for public welfare. It's a massive drain on resources, and honestly, they're contributing absolutely nothing to human progress. That leads us right into Section 3, the fall of Varna. We're looking at the tragic shift from purposeful duty to birth-based ego, which caused the complete corruption of society's functional pillars. Just like the stages of life were corrupted, the functional pillars of society were completely distorted too. Originally, these 4 roles, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, ensured a perfectly thriving society. It was essentially a highly efficient division of labor based entirely on a person's natural talents. Brahmin focused on knowledge, Kshatriyas on protection, Vaishyas on ethical commerce, and Shudras on dedicated labor. Everyone's duties were perfectly complementary. Because of this, they completely avoided the massive unemployment and devastating exploitation we see everywhere today.
But how are these roles actually decided? Well, we have to look at the original scriptural truth. The literature clearly highlights that Lord Krishna explicitly stated that Varna is based strictly on guna and karma, qualities and actions, never on birth. This is the foundational, undeniable quote from the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnya Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhashaha. Simply put, where you fit in society is based entirely on your innate qualities and the actions you actually perform. Period.
The source text gives a phenomenal analogy for this. Imagine a district collector. If the collector's son absolutely refuses to study and remains completely uneducated, he doesn't just get to sit in his dad's chair, right? He might only qualify to be a peon. He doesn't inherit the title of collector just by being born. It's the exact same thing here. Brahmanhood is a state of selfless character, not a hereditary title. You literally cannot claim a noble role just because you were born with a specific last name.
Let's dig a bit deeper into this in Section 4, the Guna and Karma Principle. This is the true measure of human worth, where your character and action define your true place in society.
This exact principle has been tragically forgotten, completely replaced by empty, birth-based ego. According to the original texts, being a true Brahmin is an incredibly demanding path. It means burning oneself like incense to elevate the moral standard of society. Think about the gravity of that first second. It requires supreme moral courage, constant sharing of knowledge, and, most importantly, it has to be completely devoid of material greed. It's a description of someone's absolute highest character, not just their biology.
Which brings us to the fallout in Section 5, the modern social crisis. Here is the true cost of forgetting our spiritual roots, leaving us with a society totally fragmented by false pride and materialism.
Ignoring this foundational truth has completely flipped our spiritual compass upside down. Look at the cascading effects here. The original literature points out that when the true, selfless distribution of knowledge stopped, we were left with a massive educational deficit. Historically, this meant a terrifying 80% of the population lacking true education, leaving them highly vulnerable. And you know what happens next. This lack of moral education bred massive, unchecked corruption, blind faith, and total societal stagnation. Today, all four original Varnas have essentially died out spiritually. We're left with a society that has collapsed into a single, highly corrupted mindset. Brave protectors are incredibly scarce. Trade is overwhelmingly about selling harmful goods just for a quick buck, and labor is just relentless mutual exploitation. Across the board, the only goal of human life has become accumulating wealth. We are literally living in a toxic monoculture of materialism.
And this massive false pride of birth, it has literally fractured our society into a million pieces. We've created thousands of rigid subcastes that completely refuse to intermingle. This extreme, ego-driven division is what birthed terrible social evils, the horrific practice of untouchability, massive inequality, and the crippling dowry system. By obsessing over inherited labels instead of actual human character, we've deeply weakened the entire nation from the inside out.
But there is hope. This brings us to our final chapter, Section 6, the path to revival. It's time to talk about reclaiming our character and unity and the true awakening of the spiritual human.
Knowing the root of the illness finally gives us the exact medicine required to cure it. The source text gives us a very clear, uncompromising directive. We absolutely must discard birth-based casteism entirely. The literature suggests we either reorganize society strictly based on authentic guna and karma, actually rewarding true qualities and actions, or, if we cannot rebuild based on pure qualities and actions, we must at least unite as moral human beings. It's time to shed these false inherited labels and just focus on being good, unified, character-driven people.
So, I want to leave you with this highly provocative thought. We are all quite literally made of the exact same essence. Are you going to continue defining yourself and judging others by the sheer random accident of birth? Or will you finally define your worth by the quality of your actions and service to humanity?
Let's quickly summarize what we've covered in this explainer. First, ancient society thrived beautifully because it was organized by action-based roles and a life perfectly balanced between personal growth and selfless service. Second, our modern societal collapse is the direct result of replacing that noble duty with birth-based ego and material greed. Third, the undeniable scriptural truth is that Varna is based strictly on guna and karma. And finally, our ultimate revival depends entirely on choosing high character over empty, inherited labels. Reclaiming our true spiritual duty is truly the only way to heal our fractured world. Thank you so much for joining me to open this profound divine scroll today. Keep seeking the truth.